Many people would look at this floor plan and think, this looks pretty good. It appears open, generous, and well laid out, but it's hiding a couple of big problems that will affect how this home actually feels to live in. Low energy, flatter mood, and it will create a space you just don't want to spend much time in. And most people never see it coming. They only feel it later on. So in this video, I'll share this real life example of a home we reviewed for a client where they thought that they were happy with the design, but wanted a second opinion before committing to the build. I'm Laszlo Baronier, an architect, and I work with people who trust their bodies and want their home and their spatial environment to support how they feel and live. So let's get straight to it. Most people look at a floor plan, they see rooms. But my first question is, where does the sunlight enter? Because that dictates how your home will look and feel in the long run. So we want to know, where is north, first and foremost. In this case, it's up the page. Because in the southern hemisphere, the sun is to the north. If you live in the northern hemisphere, the sun is to the south. And we want to draw that diagrammatically over your plan to start with. So we got the morning sun there, midday, afternoon. Once we have that drawn on, we want to know what's around your site. That's the site boundaries, neighboring properties, any sort of features that might impact on how your home feels, whether that's overlooking or overshading your property. That sets up the general design guidelines that you can work from. And now we can actually interrogate this floor plan a little bit further. So for this exercise, I'm going to focus on the living spaces. I think this is where the floor plan falls apart, even though you might think it looks okay. So if we zoom straight in there, what you'll notice is there's a very large kitchen, a generous dining space, and this stretched out living room with a covered outdoor patio space to the north. All looks fairly generous, but there's three critical flaws with this floor plan. So the first critical issue I see is the kitchen, because the kitchen has a big role to play in how the living rooms operate and function. And when I see one that's built on an external wall, it raises a red flag. Because what that means in this case is that no light is actually going to enter in the afternoon because you've got a solid wall where the kitchen is. So there's no direct sunlight and there's also no ambient light coming through the day. So what that results in, it's a dark kitchen. And what you're going to end up finding yourself doing is you're going to be reaching for the light switch every time you go into that space. And it's the most used space in your house. So it needs to be the most welcoming and inviting space to be. The second biggest issue I see is with the patio, because what you would tend to think is, well, this is the building line here to the northern end. There's plenty of glazing, so we should be getting sunlight through to this living, dining, kitchen zone. But what ends up happening is, in terms of sunlight, the building line is out here because it's all covered. So when sunlight is trying to enter, it has to get through the covered patio space first before it can hit the living zone. And that's just way too far for it to go. Light quality drops off quite dramatically, anything between 4 to 5 meters deep. What's going to result in is this whole entire kitchen, dining, living space just being dark all year round, which is the last thing you want. It's going to be dark and dull and depressing, and you're going to find yourself not wanting to spend much time in there. And the third big issue I see is with the living space. It's far too open. It's not very well defined. It's a very long and narrow space. You'll tend to feel exposed in this sort of environment. And that comes back to our human behavioral response. And in particular, our sympathetic nervous response, which stimulates the fight or flight reflex. And even in our own house, we can still have those dialed up way too far because the space is not well proportioned or designed, and we'll still feel exposed. So we want to rework the living space so that we can then dial that sympathetic nervous system down and be able to relax properly. So let's start with the kitchen. We want to take it off that external wall and open up that side of the house to receive sunlight and connection to the outdoors. So what we can do is we can use this section in here to actually put our kitchen bench, and the island can sit in front of it. So it's very considerable in size, but now it's brought inside, and we can then clear this facade for glazing, as well as pushing that building line in so that we've got extra room externally. So we've got an extra space to work within. And once we do that, we can take that line straight across there and straight down to complete our living space. And then in behind, we can incorporate that walk-in pantry, but with additional functionality of connecting it to the garage, because you can imagine carrying your groceries or the like, it's very handy to have that connection through. So from the garage itself, walking through into here and then straight into your kitchen to drop things off, instead of having to go all the way around the other side of your house to do so. And then in turn, we can also then improve the functionality of that mudroom laundry just to finish it off. So we can have some extra storage space, which you can never have enough storage space in a home, as well as you could even close that space off if you wanted to. But now what we've got is this centralized kitchen space that has the aspect looking out over your backyard. We've got an extra side of glazing over here, which means that we've got this more panoramic view, and the spaces actually look out to your outdoor zones. And then in front, we can put our dining room. And so then with the living space, well, we can key in a piece of joinery along this southern wall here, and we can either incorporate a daybed, a bookshelf, or the like to anchor that space. So bookends it nicely and provides you with a solid wall that feels a bit more intimate and a bit more defined. And then we can lay out our furniture around that, maybe incorporate freestanding fireplace and the like, but now it tends to feel a lot more cozy, a lot more warm, even though you've actually got a lot more glazing, and while still being well connected to the outdoors. And then with the covered outdoor space, we'll be looking to reduce that down in size and create multiple outdoor zones. Because what we want to do with our home is we actually don't want to be trapped inside. The goal is to invite you outdoors, because that's where we function best. We need those natural signals from the outdoor world to be able to regulate our nervous system, our hormones, our energy levels and mood. So in this case, I want to reduce that covered outdoor zone, let's say to here. And what that then opens up is this section to the east side, where in this case, I'm going to incorporate a little natural styled garden that's open. So you can imagine in the morning, if you're having a morning coffee on this eastern end, when you've got some nice morning sunlight coming through, well, you can sit down on a nice chair and little table there and enjoy your morning coffee or getting in that morning sun. Great to set your circadian rhythm for the day and boost those energy levels. So we've created a new outdoor zone. We still have that covered outdoor space, but I wouldn't make it fully covered. I would leave it as a column and beam structure, and then I'll put a retractable roof on top. That way you can still get that sunlight in for most parts of the year when you actually want the sunlight deep inside your living zone. But for those extreme weather events or when it's raining, well, you can still have that cover over that space. I'll put a link in the show notes below to a video that shows just how to do that. And then to this western side, well, we've actually got a new outdoor zone here that we can work into from the kitchen dining space, which is fantastic. So we can go either to the west, either to the north, or either to the east. So we've got all these different spaces that we can go to depending on what's comfortable at the different times of day or season. So now in essence, you've got 4 outdoor zones. You've got the first one, which is that natural open space to the eastern end, set your circadian rhythm. Then you've got your main, very flexible outdoor space here that can be either covered or open. You've got your one to the western end now. So you can just imagine if it's really hot, in the morning time, you might not want to be in this zone here. You might actually be better off in the shade down in this end. Or conversely, during the winter, autumn and spring months, you really want a lot of that western sun deep inside your home. So then you would be more inclined to come out to this zone here. So it provides that versatility and really that connectivity with the outside. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then we got that main outdoor zone to the northern end. So you got 4 different zones to work with it now. Now you've got a living kitchen dining space that's full of sunlight, that you can still manage it during those extreme weather events, and you can enjoy different parts of the home, different parts of the day and season. So you just feel better and enjoy living in that space. So we're able to do that while still working within the general parameters of the builder's layout. So they can take this back to the builder and request some of these changes and then move forward from there. So let me know what you think. If this is any interest to you, feel free to send me a message or DM me. More than happy to help out where I can. But the idea of a home, to not trap you inside, get outside. And the main way to do that is through the sun. Focus on sunlight first and everything else will follow. Until next time.